Hi there, campers. Do you remember what letter we learned about this week? The letter H. We talked about how H is a really cool sound because it's a sound that you can actually feel. That's what letter H says. We read two really great stories about the letter H, and today we learned a song about it too. So I'm going to share those things with you now so you can see them again if you'd like and share them with your families. This story is called Harry the Dirty Dog. By Margaret Floyd Graham. Harry was a white dog with black spots who liked everything except getting a bath. So one day when he heard the water running in the tub, he took the scrubbing brush and buried it in the backyard. Then he ran away from home. He played where they were fixing the street and got very dirty. He played at the railroad and got even dirtier. He played tag with the other dogs and became dirtier still. He slid down a coal chute and got the dirtiest of all. In fact, he had changed from a white dog with black spots to a black dog with white spots. Although there were many other things to do, Harry began to wonder if his family thought that he had really run away. He felt tired and hungry too, so without stopping on the way, he ran back home. When Harry got to his house, he crawled through the fence and sat looking at the back door. One of the family looked out and said, "There's a strange dog in the backyard. By the way, has anyone seen Harry?" When Harry heard this, he tried very hard to show them he was Harry. He started to do his old clever tricks. He flip-flopped and he flop-flipped. He rolled over and played dead. He danced and he sang. He did these tricks over and over again, but everyone shook his head and said, "Oh no, it couldn't be Harry." Harry gave up and walked slowly toward the gate, but suddenly he stopped. He ran to a corner of the garden and started to dig furiously. Soon he jumped away from the hole, barking short, happy barks. He'd found the scrubbing brush, and carrying it in his mouth, he ran into the house. Up the stairs he dashed, with the family following close behind. He jumped into the bathtub and sat up begging, with the scrubbing brush in his mouth, a trick he had certainly never done before. "This little doggy wants a bath," cried the little girl, and her father said, "Why don't you and your brother give him one?" Harry's bath was the soapiest one he'd ever had. It worked like magic. As soon as the children started to scrub, they began shouting, "Mommy, Daddy, look, look, come quick. It's Harry, it's Harry, it's Harry," they cried. Harry wagged his tail and was very, very happy. His family combed and brushed him lovingly, and he once again became a white dog with black spots. It was wonderful to be home. After dinner, Harry fell asleep in his favorite place, happily dreaming of how much fun it had been getting dirty. He slept so soundly he didn't even feel the scrubbing brush he'd hidden underneath his pillow. Here's our second letter H story, and it's a really fun one too. Harriet's horrible hair day. Did you have fun giving your little paper plate friends a haircut this week? It sure seemed like it. That was a good time. Let's read this one again. You remember what color the house is? We talked about that in class. It's purple. Sproing! A curl popped out of Harriet's nice, neat braid. One wriggly, wavy, horrible curl. "You look weird," Harriet's brother said. "I know something that'll fix that curl," Harriet's sister said. "A mud bath." Harriet's brother took out the hose and flooded a patch of the garden. Harriet sank down into the mud puddle until only her nose showed. They plastered mud all over Harriet's hair. "Yuck!" Harriet said. Harriet's sister poured a bucket of water on her head to rinse out the mud. When Harriet's hair dried, another curl popped out of her nice neat braid. Now Harriet had 2 horrible curls. That only made it worse, Harriet complained. Let's find something to pull those curls straight, said Harriet's sister. Harriet's sister and brother tied fishing lines to her curls, and then they pulled them hard. Ow! Harriet wailed. When they untied the lines, more curls popped out of Harriet's braid. Now she had 3, 4, and 5 horrible curls. This isn't working, Harriet mumbled. Let's weigh them down, Harriet's sister said. Rocks, she declared. Harriet's head tipped one way and then the other. Get these things off, Harriet shouted. When they untied the rocks and burst the balloons, another curl popped out. Now Harriet had 6 horrible curls. What's next? Harriet muttered. Come on, Harriet's sister said. Something in the kitchen will work. Harriet's sister and brother opened the kitchen cabinets and drawers and pulled everything out. Harriet's sister plopped a colander on Harriet's head, and her brother pulled the curls through the holes. Tie the whisk to this curl and the spatula to that one, Harriet's sister directed. I can't stand it, Harriet grumbled. When Harriet shoved the colander off her head, 3 more curls popped out. Now Harriet had 7, 8, and 9 horrible curls. Ah! Now look what you've done, Harriet yelled. Mom put stuff in her hair to make it nice, Harriet's brother said. We need pickle juice and peanut butter, mustard and molasses, Harriet's sister announced, and an egg to make it shine. She squished the goop into Harriet's hair. This stinks, moaned Harriet. But when they sprayed the slime out of Harriet's hair, even more curls popped out. Now Harriet had 10, 11, and 12 horrible curls. You look weirder than ever, Harriet's brother said. Maybe if an elephant sat on your hair, Harriet's brother said. No more, Harriet screamed, running into her room. Harriet put on her pajamas and jumped into bed and pulled the pillow over her head. She tossed and turned all night. Hey, Harriet, her sister called the next morning. Let's pin your curls to the clothesline. Harriet yanked the pillow off her head. Go away, Harriet yelled. Wow, Harriet's brother said. You don't look so weird after all, Harriet, her brother said. Look at all those neat curls, Harriet's sister exclaimed. Harriet smiled. I know. We also sang a letter H song this week. Remember how we watched the video about the wise man and the foolish man? Do you remember that song? Let's sing it together now. The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock, and the rains came tumbling down. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up, and the house on the rock stood firm. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand, and the rains came tumbling down. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up, and the house on the sand went splat! Had such a fun week with you all. Can't wait to see you on Monday. Bye, friends.